Hello, this is Partial Hangout here. In this MP4 file, I will be going over the progress I have made on my own personal video game that I have developed primarily by myself over the last 4 years called Mech Slasher, a 2D top-down bullet hell game set in a sci-fi post-human world. Now, a little background about myself. The first game I've ever played, or at least the first game I remember beating, was Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube. I was a toddler at the time, and ever since then, I've always been a gamer. I grew up with consoles like the Wii, the Xbox 360, and Xbox One. Because of that love for games I had as a kid, I was always like, when I grow up, I want to make video games. In time, I became aware of coding and game engines, etc., and began messing around. I chose to use Game Maker because at the time when I began my game dev journey, I was really into the indie RPG Undertale. I was pretty inspired that mainly one person was responsible for that game's development, and he used that same engine. But anyways, when I started doing game dev, I indulged in online tutorials as anyone would and began learning. One thing I do want to mention is that I actually got to a point where I was concerned only about the amount of hours I was putting in to the engine following tutorials instead of the concepts and skills that I was actually learning. I thought that if I had a lot of hours in the game engine, that it would mean I'm a really good developer. Spoiler alert, it didn't. But when I realized this, I decided to take it upon myself to work on a small project. I didn't really map out an end goal, which I really should have. I just sort of started to code an easy game idea that came to mind, and that was a bullet hell game. I never really played much bullet hell games in the past, but I knew the concept was pretty simple. Just make a character move around and be able to dodge incoming projectiles and eliminate enemies until the level's over. So that is what I did. Now, I had a dream that this game would be for phones. Not like a little dream, but like I designed it around playing it on phone, so I wanted to make it an easy way to eliminate enemies. I had the player be controlled with the mouse because eventually I wanted to make the player be controlled by a touchscreen. I also came up with the idea of slashing enemies to progress by holding and clicking the mouse. Not unlike the mobile game Fruit Ninja, which I drew inspiration from. This was also for making it easy to play on touchscreen. So when you use the touchscreen, you just slash or drag your finger. I still would actually like to consider this a pretty innovative game mechanic on my part. Moving forward, then I overlaid the game with some nice trash colorless pixel art that I made myself. The pixel art actually didn't even have any color besides gray, white, and black unless I was drawing a projectile because I wanted to give everything a metallic look. Like in that one SpongeBob episode where Squidward went into the future. Nobody I remember who had playtested this game even liked the lack of color. Eventually, I did hire someone to just redo all the art and include color, which was probably the best decision I could have ever made for the project. He was also a really great guy to work with, so shout out to him. But rewinding on the timeline, for the enemies I developed, these mechs would spawn on screen and begin shooting the player. Now, the player had two modes, its base mode where it can get hit and take damage, and the slashing mode where it is invincible to damage and can deal damage to enemies, but it's only like this for a limited amount of time. I worked towards creating a good balance of dodging bullets and slashing. This was going to be the core gameplay. A lot of times I ran into roadblocks in my game development. The first roadblock I remember running into was implementing a health system, which I actually later scrapped. Every time I would get stuck on anything, I'd always read forums, watch videos, and even chat in online groups to try to help solve my issues. And man, this workflow really helped carry the development process. If I wasn't open to learning new things as I was working on the project, the game wouldn't be where it is at all. In time, I added things like a wave system where a group of enemies would spawn in at once, and then when you eliminate them, a new group of enemies would spawn in all at once for the whole game. So I never had to worry about camera movement. Player would only be able to move around in the confines of the camera along with the enemies. I also added stamina to control how long you were in the slashing state for, which later became your health. So actually, the stamina bar is a combination of your health and long you can slash for. And over the course of me developing, I realized it was really hard to stay disciplined. Sometimes I get frustrated with a roadblock, not know where to take my game, or really just get bored of the development process. Although I love playing games, it does get tiring after a while to make them. There's a lot of work and effort that really goes into making a game. A lot of things you really need to worry about. I know that now more than ever. As a result of my procrastination, I've been developing this project on and off for about 4 years now. My latest additions to the game include a main menu, a boss battle, sound effects, and music. So far, The game consists of one level with a boss at the end, and it takes about 6 minutes to complete it. You may be wondering if I actually ever plan on finishing this game. To that I say, yes I do. My plan is to have a total of 7 levels, with some extra game modes like an arcade mode where you have to beat every level in one sitting, and perhaps even an endless mode where you just keep beating enemies, battling enemies until you can't no more. All of this will be for a potential release on Steam. I'm not really planning for the phone thing just yet. I mean, maybe if it does good on Steam, then port it to phone, but we'll see. The only thing really keeping me back is the payment for more commissioned art, because I'm kind of broke right now. But when I get that squared away and start going crazy with the game development process and just be more consistent, I think I could probably get it done in like 6 months, if I'm being honest. Maybe a year at most. 6 months to a year. I've been working on this game for so long that it would suck for me personally for it to just never see the light of day, you know? Yeah, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts, please share it in the comments below. If you want to support me, a like and subscribe really go a long way. Yeah, Partial Hangout, signing off.